Welcome back. This lesson will provide you with an overview of the ICF core competency of establishing and maintaining agreements. This competency is the first competency under the category of co-creating the relationship, and it is the third core competency overall. ICF defines establishing and maintaining agreements as partnering with the client and relevant stakeholders to create clear agreements about the coaching relationship, process, plans, and goals. The coaching agreements are fundamental to coaching. New coaches tend to struggle with coaching agreements. It is important to really understand how coaching agreements work as they provide the container for your coaching sessions. The first expectation in this core competency is explains what coaching is and is not, and describes the process to the client and relevant stakeholders. Many clients come to coaching not understanding what coaching is all about. It is important that during the intake process and throughout the coaching engagement, you as the coach continually reinforce the goal of coaching and the differences between coaching and other helping professions. Your written contract with the client should contain information describing all of this. By the way, you should always have a written contract with your client, even if you are doing the work pro bono. We'll go deeper into written contracts at a later time. Number two, reaches agreement about what is and is not appropriate in the relationship, what is and is not being offered, and the responsibilities of the client and relevant stakeholders. Part of the coaching agreement is to share the coaching code of ethics with the client and explaining the boundaries and services being offered. I was once hired by an outfit to offer coaching services to one of their clients. I was told by the outfit that the client had been provided all the information they needed. I took their word for it, only to realize after the third session that the client was clueless about what to expect during our sessions. Further inquiry revealed that the outfit had never talked to the client about what to expect. Ever since then, I have always made sure I have that conversation with my clients, regardless of where they come from or what they know about coaching. Number three, reaches agreement about the guidelines and specific parameters of the coaching relationship, such as logistics, fees, scheduling, duration, termination, confidentiality, and inclusion of others. It is important to delineate each one of these items in your written agreement. You can find an example of a written agreement in the resources section of this course. Number four, partners with the client and relevant stakeholders to establish an overall coaching plan and goals. Please note that this is your second official coaching agreement. And as we will see, there are three of them. The first one is the overarching written contract, and this one is the overarching for goals coaching contract. You should work with your client to develop overarching goals for the duration of your coaching relationship. These goals will serve as a guide to all your coaching sessions and will serve as a point of reference when the client moves away from the mutually agreed path. By the way, the client has the choice to address other challenges not on the original agreement. After all, they are in charge. As their coach, you should always double check with them to clarify their choice. I work with many corporate clients. Often, the client's supervisor will provide the overarching goals. It is important that you verify and clarify these goals with the client and report back to the supervisor on the agreed upon goals. Number 5, partners with the client to determine client coach compatibility. Not all clients are coachable. Some of them are uncoachable. Others are not ready to be coached right now. It is important that you learn how to determine which one is which. One approach I use is to agree with the coachee on a 3-month initial contract. This will give me enough time to see if there's compatibility between each other. If I see this is not a good fit for me, I let them know that I feel I cannot be the best coach I can be with them. I will never put the blame on the client. I will also encourage them to find another coach that will better fit their needs. Number 6, partners with the client to identify or reconfirm what they want to accomplish in the session. This is the beginning of the third coaching agreement and is part of the coaching agreement for each session. This step includes questions such as, what would you like to talk about in this session? Or how would you like to spend our time together? This first question helps define the context of the conversation. Number 7, partners with the client to define what the client believes they need to address or resolve to achieve what they want to accomplish in the session. This is the second question of the session coaching agreement. So first we ask them what they want to talk about. The next question is, what would you like to walk away with at the end of our conversation? Or what is your ultimate goal in having this conversation today? Notice that this question is different than the first one. The purpose of this question is to help the client narrow down the goal for the session. It should be a measurable goal. It is not uncommon for the coachee not to know what they would like to accomplish during the session. For this reason, it is very important to wait between 4 and 5 minutes after the first question to ask this one. This period of time will give the client enough time to sort through the challenges and come up with a general goal for the session. Number 8, partners with the client to define or reconfirm measures of success for what the client wants to accomplish in the coaching engagement or individual session. This is the third question in the session coaching agreement. Sometime, usually about halfway through the session, it is important to ask one of the following questions or something to this effect. Are we still talking about what you wanted to talk about? Are we still on track? Or we can say at the beginning of the session, you said you wanted to talk about this. Are we still following that? The question can be asked multiple times throughout the session, especially when the client brings multiple themes or options at the same time. Number 9, partners with the client to manage the time and focus of the session. You should stick to the time you offer for the session. My sessions are usually within 30 and 45 minutes in length. I hold myself and my client accountable to that time commitment. A coach I know says that clients will feel the time you give them. I have found personally that 30 minutes is plenty of time for a coachee to really address whatever it is they're working on. I also have clients that like 45 minutes. They are more introverted and like to go deeper. And so that works too. The time of each session has always been predetermined ahead of time. If a client is late, I will hold them and myself to the original agreed time, and I will not extend the time together. Number 10, continuous coaching in the direction of the client's desired outcome, unless the client indicates otherwise. The client is always on the driver's seat. They control the direction of the session. As a coach, I will follow them wherever they want to go. If they seem to have changed direction, I will always check with them using one of the questions on item number 8. Number 11, partners with the client to end the coaching relationship in a way that honors the experience. Each session and each engagement includes time for wrap up. One question I use for closing the session is, have we talked about what you wanted to talk about? If I'm closing the contract engagement, I will ask the client to share what they have learned during our time together and thank them for the commitment to coaching and for the privilege of letting me journey with them. In summary, there are 3 coaching agreements. The first is the written agreement or the contract. The second includes the overarching goals for the entirety of your coaching contract. And the third is the session agreement, which varies from session to session depending on what the coachee wants to explore. Mastery of the coaching agreements is crucial for becoming a great coach. As previously mentioned, we will spend some time in this area during your training. This concludes our discussion of the third ICF core competency. Make sure to practice the concepts you have learned today. See you in your next video.